So it's Saturday, July 31st, 2021. And when I left off last night, or a day or so ago, had taken off the fenders and the grill, and figured out what these angle pieces were here for the steps. One damage that I did was here when I tried to take the pin out of the hood. Obviously this is going to have to come off, but most people, including me, usually just take the pin right out of the hood there. I was going to take the pin out of this, out of the toolbox cover under here, right here, are these two pins, but I think I'm going to leave those in there because I believe when the body shop needs to repair underneath, like I showed you the rust, they're probably going to need that lid. And if they need to take it off, they can take that off, at their time, whenever they're working on it. But I did take the majority of the just found some weird places where there was just a bolt and a nut going through the body. And so I went ahead and took those off and saved those, bagged them up, labeled them. Took off the spare tire holder and the fuel can holder. I found, if you look real close, they're all in, there's 4 holes that were for the fuel canister holder, but there's an extra hole that's drilled. And then there's some weird little holes here. I'm not sure what these are for. And the spare tire, where it mounts, there's a little bit of rust there. The tailgate, let me see if I can get a good shot at this. I showed you how these are bent over. Doesn't appear to be, that was stock. It might be, I don't know. That's actually a pretty nice little bend there. And then these go over kind of like a little ear flap. So maybe that was stock, I'm not sure. But if you can see how the tailgate is kind of worked, and it's basically kind of like that, down on that corner, up on this side. So the body shop will be able to fix that out. I'm going to go ahead and leave the chains, the tailgate. I'll go ahead and remove the bumper. Obviously that's attached to the frame and everything. Once I get the tub off, I'll do all that with the framework. But here's some more of those little random, just a bolt and a nut. One's going one way and one's going the other way. I have no idea why those are there. And then a couple of other just random holes here. I'm not sure really what those are. Maybe they're tie downs. Here's the strap, and then where I think an axe and a shovel would go right here. Here's some more holes over here. These may be for the doors. If you want to put a canvas top or whatever, I believe this is just like there's 2 over there. I believe that's another place for the latch for the door or something. And then you've got your tie down for your shovel would go there. And then there's another 2 little holes right over on that other side. Not real bad getting the gauges out and the fuel pressure and temperature gauge and everything. I did not know that in this hole right here was a little button. Looked just like this. Had no idea what it was for. Pulled it out, got to looking, cigarette lighter. Now I didn't know 1946 there was a cigarette lighter that would have been mounted right there, but there's a couple of other holes here that are just random. And then obviously you've got your choke and your what do you got here? You got your choke, and then you've got your lights, and then you've got a switch down here that I haven't taken that off, but that's also for the lights. I took the foot selector off, and then your right here would be the gauge cluster lights or light, and that's right over there. Everything came out pretty darn good, not any damage. Be able to reuse the original key drum switch. There's the light switch. Let's see here. Temperature gauge is good. Fuel gauge, probably going to get another one of those anyway, but it does sweep. I just saw it move. This was bent when I took it off. I might be able to bend that back, but that's just oil pressure. That's pretty cool. That's the original one, so might want to hang on to that and just replace it. And then the odometer, original with the mileage and everything. That will probably just clean up real good. If you can see, you got the screws, you can dismantle it, you can rebuild it. I may do that, or I'm going to talk to Joe and see what he wants to do. I did find that number, which I thought was a serial number for the body or the frame or whatever. Actually, this was a coil, and never seen one, but it says it's 6 volt. Now that's very strange because, now personally, I've never seen a 6 volt coil on a 12 volt converted system. Maybe that's 12 volt for the charging and the lights and everything, 6 volt just for the sparks. And but we'll look into that as we get a little bit more in the rebuild. That's in really good shape. That's not original, but it did, that's where that number that was in that little hole, and this is where it mounted. It kind of goes in there like behind the dash there. 2 holes, and then that serial number was here. I don't know what that hole's for. That one, obviously where you're mounting for your data plates. And then these up here would be, there's another, the tie downs, the little loops. There's a name for them. Its name escapes me. I think they're called bootstraps or boodles, something like that, something strange. So that's just about it for today. I spent about 3 hours out here just doing the extra little Mickey Mouse stuff. I did get the throttle pedal cotter pin off, so I'm just going to leave the pedal in the frame, but disconnected the linkage down there with that cotter pin and that little pin that goes through the linkage. So I still need to do the clutch, the brakes, everybody's favorite. This, I did go ahead and take the lever off of the shifter. The good news is that may not have to come off just to get the tub, because there's kind of a half plate down there, half on one side, half on the other side. And if you unbolt that, I think that hole will be wide enough to capture this as we lift the tub off. But as you know, this is the pain. So I've been soaking it with everybody's favorite. It's the only thing I've ever found that it works, and it's not flammable. So the other option is, since I've got it so soaked, I've been going over here every time I took something off, I'd come over here and spray a little bit more, both from this side and this side, and then I'd tap on it. Doesn't look like the button's gonna have to come off for the horn, but that's gonna need to be rebuilt anyway. So, but just to get the tub off, our goal, the next couple of days, we gotta get the steering wheel off. And a lot of people say, put a pipe wrench behind here and just whack on it with the dead blow, put the pipe wrench down so it's just touching on that lip, and then just wrap on it. That may work. Some people say build a little tool where, it's kind of a half steel that would slide over there just like that pipe wrench would, but then it's got a couple holes, and then you can use a puller. But in that case, you have to pull the horn button off and snip the cable, and then hopefully not damage the threads. That's the goal. So when this is ready to get beat off, or somehow, bang it off of there with that pipe wrench, or get that puller on there, I'll put the nut back on here, not to damage the threads, wrap on it until it pops off of that taper, and then hopefully it'll just wiggle right off. So we're just gonna soak that really, really good, and just come out here every once in a while and just spray it down, make sure that stuff's in there really good in the threads. Maybe potentially, since that's not flammable, is heat it up with a torch and try to wrap on it with the dead blow, try to get it off. And then Either later on today or tomorrow, I'm going to drain the fuel. There's only about 2 gallons in there left over. Go ahead and drain the fuel, get the tank out, plug it, and then set that off to the side. The inside, I can't really show you because I don't have a flashlight with me, but the inside is perfect. It's, I mean, the fuel is not all gummed up. It's actually liquid. So it's fairly new. I would say, you know, a couple of years. But not anything extreme. There's no, you know, varnish in there or anything like that. The inside's about as shiny as the outside. And I think this is a replacement gas tank. Now, once we take this gas tank off, I want to see what's underneath. You know, if it's as bad as that fuel, or excuse me, that toolbox over there, then the body shop's going to have some work to do over there welding up a plate for us. Didn't really see any damage from below, but, you know, once we get that off, we'll see how much water and stuff is seeped down in there. I don't know if any of the drain holes, you know, that were originally in here, I might have got plugged up with the leaf or something. This was sitting outside, who knows where, how long, and we'll go from there. So a couple of more things just to do to just get the hub ready to come off. I have not removed any of the bolts to the frame, or have I taken off that plate for where the manual shifter would go. And I have not taken off the little, I don't know, hand guards, let's call them, the little balls on the shifters for the transfer case. I haven't taken those off, so that's still to do. And then a few just little miscellaneous brackets I want to get off here, because if we're going to do this right, we're going to do it right, and we're going to get everything painted and sanded up, and then reassemble with some fresh threaded bolts and some sort of Teflon tape on the threads or something, some sort of a thread protectant, so that over the next 75 years, this thing is either being shown or on the road or shown off. Not going to have any issue repairing something or getting, you know, taking it back apart, or Lord help us if we have to take something all the way apart again just to get something that's broke under there. So far it's going good. I haven't found anything that's really scary. Odds and ends, little bolts break, little, you know, nuts have stripped off of some of the things. But the good thing is they're not a permanently mounted, you know, threaded attachment or, you know, stud that comes out of anything. So that's a good thing. And going on 12 minutes, so I'll wrap this up and then follow up whenever we are ready to get the tub off, and got some help over here, and I can stand back and watch everybody do it. And then I'll get in and take some Motrin, make sure my backs and knees and everything's are good, and start continuing the tear down and the cleanup. Have a good evening.